Hey, hi everybody. This is Dr. Ken Muich, Fibromyalgia Wellness Center, and I about a half hour ago I mentioned that I'm not in Arizona. I'm in Colorado because of my brother-in-law's anniversary, wedding anniversary, and he wanted to celebrate it in Colorado, actually at a resort, kind of rustic resort, but he loves it. So we decided to extend and have extended weekend vacation, so to speak, and come out and visit with him and his wonderful family. And so that's where I'm actually speaking from in Creede, Colorado. That's Creede, Colorado. And we're enjoying ourselves, and of course, getting out of the 110 plus temperature out of Arizona. Wish everybody in Arizona well, and make sure you take care of yourself and drink a lot of fluids. We're going to be talking today about a certain word that means maybe problems for people. We're going to get to that in just a moment. But fibromyalgia patients, as a matter of fact, this talk is not only for fibromyalgia patients, it's for anybody that may have an inflammatory condition, which includes many fibromyalgia patients, the secondary conditions, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, you name it. All of those different areas of inflammation can be positively or negatively affected based upon what we're going to be talking about. Now, most fibromyalgia patients, you really have to admit, their exercise level involves maybe just getting out of bed, maybe just barely taking a walk, maybe just barely taking care of themselves. So because of that, a lack of, shall we say, activity and exercise, you will have a problem as far as increase in fat levels just because of lack of activity. Look, if you're, and I've mentioned this before, I think in talks, but if you were, let's say, 150 pounds last year, but because of your condition, your illness, whether it be fibromyalgia or some other serious condition, your exercise is minimal. Anywhere from 5 to 10% of your lean tissue is actually turned into adipose or fat tissue, believe it or not, per year. Now, that's if you don't take care of yourself, of course, and take care of yourself by eating the proper foods. And so that's what we're really going to be talking about here. We're going to be talking about that hated word diet, okay? Uh, that word diet. How many people raise your hands if you really kind of get that queasy, uncomfortable feeling if you actually think of diet. There, I got one of them right here, okay? Listen, about 3 months ago, I decided after I went to my health professional, MD, and I asked him to run a number of tests on me as far as blood chem and urinalysis and CBC, all of the things that are normally taken, urinalysis. And I knew what was going to come back because although I didn't have a lot of weight gain, I just didn't eat the right foods. It all started around Thanksgiving, and then through the holidays, and then it was Valentine's Day, and one thing led to another, until finally I realized that because I was getting a little bit additional tired and just some symptoms I didn't like, so I did get the tests made before I went on some kind of a fasting and tricked the doctors, so to speak. And lo and behold, the studies came back, and yes, I did have increased in certain levels that I'd never had before. Turning just 72, I realized that if I was going to continue being healthier than my patients, I had to take steps to take care of that. And so I evaluated what I was offering and suggesting to patients, and I went on the same thing. I went on what's called a restricted hypoglycemic diet. Restricted in that I took sugar, gluten, trans fatty acids, and dairy out of my diet, and I watched the carbohydrates that I was ingesting. I don't know about many other people. You may very well have some really special foods that you love. Mine is potatoes, and they are a problem for those people that may have some health problems, and I'm going to go into it in just a few moments, because they digest through your system quickly, which means that you have an increase in insulin that goes into your bloodstream, and that causes some secondary problems. that we are making sure we're dealing with. I don't have diabetes. It's just the fact that you want to make sure you don't get diabetes, or with bad dieting, all of those things are inflammatory. And so that's what we're talking about. Look, if you already have a health condition, believe me, it's inflammatory. Okay? Don't even joke with yourself. Fibromyalgia, it's inflammatory. Osteoarthritis, it's inflammatory. Heart disease, it's inflammatory. Chronic illnesses of any way or form, rheumatoid, you name it, they're inflammatory. So why would you want to put gasoline on a fire? That doesn't make any sense, right? So what I did was I did what I tell patients. Don't you just love to go to a doctor who is maybe 6 foot and 280 pounds, and he looks like he rolled himself into the clinic, and he's trying to tell you what's going to make you happy and healthy? Come on, geez. I just can't believe that doctors can't take care of themselves. And so I always preached that I wanted to make sure that my health was healthier than the patients that were coming in. So what I did was I went on what I tell patients to do. Believe me when I tell you, this is a wonderful diet because you eat a lot of food. Okay, it's just taking the garbage out of your system. It's taking out the things that are inflammatory. And within 45 days, I lost 20 pounds, believe it or not. And I've kept that off now since that time. So how am I doing this? Well, it's not a starvation type thing like I mentioned to you. So all I have to do is have a little bit of proper knowledge about the type of food you need to eat and a little bit of nutritional science, and that's it. And that's, I think, what we're going to really try to cover today, so you understand and simplify that word diet and make it an enjoyable thing that will actually not only have you lose weight, but you're going to feel better because you're not feeding the fire of inflammation. And so it's going to go down, believe it or not. I'm a much happier, more active. I sleep better. There's certain things, of course, I can't control out of your life, like your stresses and so forth. But this will neutralize a lot of those things that actually cause problems. So we're talking about a good diet with lots of good food and not something kind of starvation. And so, and you can cheat easily just if you understand what we're going to be dealing with. So stress does have an effect on you along with your other health conditions, especially if you're pre-diabetic, or again, if it runs in a family, or like I say, if you have an inflammatory condition. So what we're talking about is, what is a hypoglycemic diet, okay? Well, the key to this is carbohydrates. Of course, we have to have our protein and so forth, but carbohydrates are what really feed the body and the brain, believe it or not. And carbohydrates can be good or they can be bad. Now, there's a glycemic index that is actually established where every one of the foods, the carbohydrates, actually has a rating from 0 to 100. So there's certain carbohydrates, like all those candies and cakes and so forth that you eat, and also potatoes have, for the most part, high glycemic levels. But you have dozens and dozens and dozens of fruits and vegetables out there that are just wonderful and have low glycemic levels. So let's say, for example, I mentioned to you that they rating from 0 to 100. So let's just say, for example, you really want to eat your potatoes, okay? Got to have potatoes. All right. And so let's say they have a glycemic rating of 70, okay? So what you do is you neutralize that by eating, like, say, green beans and asparagus, maybe some broccoli, maybe some carrots, that all have lower level glycemic levels. So let's just say, for example, let's just have asparagus, okay, or some other food if you don't want asparagus. Let's just say asparagus has a rating of 30, and you have potatoes that are a rating of 70. So that's actually, if you add those two together, that's 100. But if you divide them, that's 50. Why is that important? The faster the foods, especially carbohydrates, go through your system, the faster your pancreas produces insulin, okay? If you excessively produce insulin quickly, all right, what happens is that your body goes into a little bit of an insulin shock. And so we don't want that. Now, even if you're not diabetic or pre-diabetic, your body's still reacting the same way. It's a little bit of a shock system. So what you want to do is you want to average out things. So where do you find these glycemic levels? Yeah, most people can just look them up. What's a glycemic level of so forth, or just a general. Give me the glycemic levels of vegetables. Give me glycemic level of fruits and so forth and so on. And you're going to find that the more vegetables and more fruits that you eat that neutralize some of the other things that you're eating will make a tremendous difference in your life, and you're going to lose weight. That's exactly what happens. So can you have sugar? Sugar really doesn't adversely affect the pancreas like a lot of people think. If you want to really lose weight and still eat a lot of food, just stay off of fats. Fats can be the real killer as far as weight gain is concerned, not the sugars and so forth and so on. So watch what the low glycemic levels of vegetables and fruits are, eat those. And if you want to have something that has fat in it, of which most things do have fat levels, but just read the contents. I always tell patients, read what you have. So let's say you do have something that has a lot of fat in it. You can neutralize that by eating a lot of extra carbohydrates that have low glycemic levels, like like I mentioned, the carrots and the broccoli and the asparagus and all the vegetables that are really, really good for you. And they can be prepared very, very easily. If you don't like steamed vegetables, put them on a grill. Put some vegetables in a little plastic bag with some olive oil and a little seasonings, and just kind of mix them around a little bit. Put them on a grill. Fantastic. What a different flavor it is. It's not one of those dull things that you have to live through. So that's really, really important. Ranking foods based upon their immediate effect on blood sugar levels is very, very important if you have diabetes or not, because the rate of digestion is important as far as health implications for everybody, regardless if they have diabetes or not. It can adversely affect you. A high-risk heart disease, even without diabetes, is very, very important. And that happens if you increase your fat levels, and leads to many additional diseases. And so what we're trying to do is simplify things. You can eat a lot of food. You really can. You can eat meat, just cut off the fat. Minimize that, okay? One other thing, refined foods versus whole foods. Refined foods are the things that you get in boxes and the white breads and so forth. Sourdough bread is excellent on this. Rye is excellent. Combination rye sourdough breads are excellent. But it's the white refined foods, that you eat, and the cookies and candies and so forth and so on. Those are the bad ones. So you want to eat whole foods. That's what I'm talking about. All those fruits and vegetables and things that are really good for you. Makes a big difference. So you eat more carbohydrates. Look at the low glycemic aspect of the carbohydrates and reduce your fat level, and bingo, that's a healthy diet. That's what you lose weight on. If you can stay a little bit active, even if you take a walk or something. Now look, for fibromyalgia patients, I know you're in a lot of pain. You can't exercise. I'm not asking you to exercise. Keep doing what you're doing, but watch what you eat, because that lean tissue of yours is actually turning into fat tissue. Not only that stuff that sticks out around your waist, but it's the fat that actually accumulates around all of the organs, and that really is inflammatory and adversely affects how you feel and increases your inflammatory level. So, diet? Nah, you don't have to diet. Just increase your fruits and vegetables, okay? And if you have time, everybody Googles it. I have so many people, they ask me a question, or they'll say, I think I'll Google that. So, or ask your friend, hey, Google this, Google that, and so forth and so on. I don't have the time to go over all of the glycemic levels, but I'll hit just a few of them for you, okay? Just to let you know, glycemic levels, okay? Okay, so sources of carbohydrate, let's see, oranges, peas, plums, even milk, low-fat milk, that's excellent for you, apples, pears, let's see, grapes, let's see, sweet potatoes and yams are a lot better than your white or mashed potatoes. Split peas, good. Whole grain breads, okay, not the refined white breads and so forth, like I said. Pasta's pretty good, believe it or not. Pasta is really not that high as far as glycemic level is concerned. Some of the diets they suggest is, meatballs and pasta for quite a lot. That's great stuff. I mean, really, So those are some of the things just there to just give you an idea as far as the levels that they have. I'll give you a few more things over here. Of course, a lot of the breakfast cereals, you want to really stay away from those. Bananas are excellent. Um, let's say what else might be good. Um, Blueberries, very good. Carrots, very good. Oh, that's another thing. Hey, listen, if you want to really watch yourself so you don't eat improperly, the most very important thing, most important as far as especially dietary, if you want to lose weight, is to snack in between meals. Like with what? Almonds. Most nuts are excellent, especially almonds. You can have a handful of almonds. Have carrots. They're great. You know, that's what I do. I eat carrots and also almonds in between meals, and that keeps your not only your hunger down, but also it keeps again that insulin level down, so that you can really feel a lot healthier. Pumpernickel bread, sourdough bread. Let's see, bad things: bagels, bread stuffing, English muffins, Italian bread, or white enriched or whole wheat, bad for you. Oatmeal is good. Hot cereals such as apple and cinnamon are excellent. Just to run through this, so you can go on and on. Even low-fat ice cream is good. You can have that. Okay, I'm really surprised at some of the things that you can have because it includes good things for you that you really need. So, best thing. Increase your carbohydrates. Reduce your fat. What have I taken away? Really? Not hardly anything, really, if you look at it. And if you really want to lose a lot more weight, then go to the glycemic levels of fruits and vegetables, especially. I know what I can't have. I can't have on a regular basis potatoes. But I did the other day. Okay. Why? Because I had asparagus and I had, let's see, green, yellow, and red peppers and carrots. So that neutralizes the potatoes, okay? Isn't that great? I mean, that's all you have to do. Just increase your carbohydrates, the good ones, the ones that have low glycemic levels, reduce your fat level, and that's it. You lose weight. So best wishes to you. Even if you're on vacation, you should be able to do that. I mean, really, shouldn't be that difficult without actually starvation. Diets with starvation are really bad for you. I know some people like to fast. Is fasting bad? Actually, if you really are, say, congested and have a lot of garbage in your system, maybe a 1 day of fasting with a lot of say, for example, water and fruit juices and so forth would be good. But otherwise, you know, starvation is not good for you because you're going to overeat when you get back, and then that's not good. Hi, Lisa. How are you? Thanks for joining, and all the people that are coming across. I hope I'm helping you. Enjoy your vacation. If it's really hot, make sure you drink a lot of fluids and electrolytes. That's extremely important. That's also important for fasting. Electrolytes, okay? And don't just guzzle them down. Add them to water. I usually say 3 parts water to 1 part electrolytes, so it gets into your system a little at a time, rather than totally congesting yourself with a lot of electrolytes and then maybe upsetting your stomach. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I want to thank everybody for sending in their questions. Don't be afraid to. And I will be back in town. I'll be coming back in Tuesday. And next week, expect another a wonderful live video on some subject that I find that could be very, very helpful to all of my patients and my friends and family, and to you out there, which is the most important thing. I want to thank you very, very much. October 6th and 7th, we're going to have our seminar. We already sent out information to doctors, and it's for training in our protocol. And let's see, there's one other thing I was going to mention to you that I think is important. I should have written that one down. But anyway, everybody have a wonderful week. Be safe, and don't be afraid to ask questions. I'm here to do everything I can to help you through the next step, okay? Take care now. Bye-bye now.